I would say a lot. 20 years is a really long time. It's a decade. Um, so I'll talk about myself first. Uh, so when I started, of course, it was a passion project that I was taking up. I was very clear from the beginning that I wanted to get into fashion. I used to scribble back in school behind my notebooks and instead of concentrating in class. Um, when I started, of course, it was a small little enterprise. It was just one tailor and me. It was a beautiful starting point. We started really slow. I knew nothing about management or how to run a little factory or even a unit, how to put two and two together. So it was a nice experience. Of course, it's tough in the beginning because you don't know so many things are unanswered. But you're willing to go with the flow. You're young that time. So this was 3 years back. Um, every once in a while you take a rain check, and that's what we were doing at that time. And every time you have to take a leap forward, sometimes it's best to take a few steps backward. And when we were reassessing, because when you reassess at that stage, we were reassessing for the next 10 years. We were trying to envision of what we wanted to do, what is it that we enjoy doing, and what are the changes that we needed to make today in order to prepare for a better future. Um, and we realized that along the way, over the years, even if it's by a little that you've shifted from the core, it was important that we went back to what was incepted, and whether you've changed for market conditions or for commercial reasons or for constant pressure or fear of something. But you do make those changes and you do deviate along the way. And the thought was to just go back to that pure thought that we had started with. Uh, and that was it. AMPM was always envisioned in a certain way. It's just to get that much clarity and fearlessness and focus. So 3 years back, it was first the founders, partners of AMPM. Yes, it was in the beginning because something that's running well, nobody decides to shut it down one day and take a U-turn. So it wasn't the easiest, but it wasn't difficult either because I think after so many years, you learn to trust one another. And I'm very, very grateful to my partners who've been associated with the AMPM for a lot of years and few who were new, that they believed that this would be magical. So this collection's called Pankti. I don't know if you had a chance to read about it. So when we were doing this collection, you go around the world to come up with one concept, which you think will be apt for that season. And this time we just thought that we'll use the simplest thing and make it into a collection. Instead of developing new artworks, let's play with the simplest, most basic form of art, which was a line. So sometimes we don't realize that we layer things too much. We make it more complicated than it actually needs to be. So Pankti was that thought that let's recreate something that's so simple, which is a line, in other words, a stripe. There's this little funny quote that we used recently that the stripe is just a dot that went for a walk. It's just that. Sometimes just have fun. Just don't overcomplicate. That's what we did. It's just a stripe. It's just stripes. It's just been engineered beautifully. It's been placed on garments. It's been patterned well. you've kept it in mind that what is your customer going to look like, because stripes can be sometimes difficult to wear. So that's where we put our strength, but we kept the base of it absolutely simple. So it's just playing with colors. It's rich, neutral colors. Uh, it's a lovely palette. We all fell in love with it. Camels and mulberries and bottle greens, and very airy, very light. Because everything now, um, the ideology for everyday luxury needs to be felt very, very clearly. So even if it took removing everything else that the brand did and just editing and decluttering it to come to the simplest idea. That's where we had started. We just came back to that. So I think it's such a huge umbrella concept, sustainability, and I think it's very frivolously used. It's become merely a hashtag, according to me. And yes, it's a very expensive journey. You have to make very, very conscious decisions to constantly maneuver the brand to walk that path. It's tougher than trying to just walk the patterns that you've been following. But some of the values with AMPM were already existing. It didn't take a word like sustainability to bring it to focus. So whether it's taking care of the artisans or paying your vendors fairly, or being very, very conscious with where you're sourcing your fabrics, the sort of quality checks that we do in order to make the product very, very reusable. So if you walk up to an AMPM customer, the one thing that I've repeatedly heard over the years is that the quality doesn't go away. They come back for the quality that has been lying in their wardrobe for 10 years, that their mother gave it to their daughter. For me, that reuse is fabulous, because that's the value I anyway put, whether I was being called a sustainable brand or not. So the bags that we use now, everything slowly is just walking that path. It's I'm just right now just simply talking about the bag that 10 customers walk out with every day. So instead of making it with paper or plastic or whatever, we decided to just make it in cloth. And that bag is now being used on so many occasions for my customer in their transitional lifestyle, whether they use it as a swimming bag or whether they're using it for something that they're carrying to a resort holiday. So everything has an expense attached to it, but you can be sustainable in so many ways. For me, that's great because it just doesn't tear off. It's being reused continuously. As a matter of fact, when I came in today, I was just carrying the AMPM bag. It's just not merely a shopping bag. So when we were building the store, the thought was just to build it like a sanctuary. Very relaxed, very calming, very warm, and inviting space. So that... And of course, the thought that we kept behind it is that let's create a space that is not intimidating, it's not transactional, and it's an experience. Those hours, those moments need to be enjoyed by my consumers. So the first thought was that what is the space that you create where somebody feels invited and somebody can come and shop. It's an intimate activity. Shopping for something is an intimate activity, and that's not the experience that I find anywhere. So, and I thought where the warmth and the inviting part was concerned, that's what a host does. That's what I wanted to extend to my consumer. Just hosting them here, and so we of course it took months of ideation of how to actually bring it to life. So we realized that we need to probably even seamlessly warden off some of the areas so that this place can be used as something private. And we had very big windows before this, so we just closed them all down so that when they come in, they're separated from the outside world and they can actually enjoy this. It's actually an extension of the house, and so that's how we built the whole store. So we made the foyer, we made the courtyard, we made the lounge, we made the dresser, and that's how it was conceptualized. It was just fear from any retail science, fearlessly. It was just designed, not being bound with restrictions. That retail must have so many hangings. It must be used per square foot. No, you can only do justice to one idea. And this time when you're re-envisioning something, what have you got to lose?
We're happy with the design.
Oh, extremely, extremely. And I'm very happy.
The wall.
Right. So, of course, every element and everything that's been put here has been done with thought. One of the thoughts was that when you want something very relaxing and calming, when you want something warm, to be warm, what are you going to use? And then it wasn't such a difficult decision. When I go out shopping, I constantly get a little uncomfortable because there is too much happening in a mall, in a store. It's too much merchandise. And I personally land up getting disengaged. So I thought that there would be more like me. And that's why you started tying one thread to the other. So beige was for warmth. Beige and these seamless walls from one section moving into the other have also been done because the product itself has been very painstakingly thought about for the consumer. And so all we thought was that we just need a canvas, a blank canvas, so that your clothes can do their speaking and the space can be very intimate and calming.